It's Wednesday, July 15th, and welcome to the reading of the Mansfield News Journal. My name is Pam, and let's begin today's reading with the area deaths. Jeremy C. Baker, October 5th, 1979 to July 10th, 2020. A celebration of life will be held from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Friday, July 17th, 2020, at the Woods Banquet Center in Mansfield. Calling hours will be held from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Monday, July 20th at Warner Gompf Funeral Services. Paul L. Eberly Jr., 74, of Galion, passed away Monday, July 13th, at home surrounded by his loving family. The family will receive friends from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Saturday, July 18th, at Richardson Davis Chapel of Snyder Funeral Homes in Galion, where services will be held at 12 p.m. Dale Edwin Holmes, 91, of Lexington, passed away peacefully on Thursday, July 9th, at Fulton County Medical Center in Wauseon, Ohio. Friends may call on Saturday, July 18th from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. at Snyder Gompf Funeral Home in Galion. Funeral services will follow at 2 p.m. on Saturday, July 18th at Snyder Gompf Funeral Home in Galion. Marvin Elwood Maher, 84, of Mansfield, passed away Sunday, July 12th, with his children by his side. A private graveside service will be held for the family at Mansfield Memorial Park. Deborah K. Romans, 62, of Mansfield, passed away July 11th at her residence. Funeral services will be held at 1 p.m. Thursday, July 16th, at the Diamond Street home of Wapner Funeral Directors in Mansfield. Friends may call 2 hours prior to the service from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the funeral home on Thursday. That concludes the Wednesday Mansfield News Journal area death notices. Now, for our first article. The 6th COVID-19 death reported in Richland County by Monroe Trombley. In Mansfield, an 84-year-old man who had tested positive for COVID-19 became the latest victim of the novel coronavirus in Richland County. While his death was reported Monday, he died at Ohio Health Mansfield Hospital on June 24th. The elderly man was admitted to the hospital on May 28th, the day he first began experiencing symptoms of COVID-19, the illness caused by the novel coronavirus, according to the Ohio Department of Health. 5 other deaths tied to COVID-19 have been reported in Richland County, which had 378 cumulative confirmed cases as of Tuesday afternoon. That does not include 14 probable cases. 2 men, ages 84 and 90, died in June. Albert William Hartman Jr., 79, died May 20th at Ohio Health Mansfield Hospital. The county's second death was unidentified as John Dawson, a corrections officer at Marion Correctional Institution, died in April after testing positive for COVID-19 in March. As of Tuesday afternoon, 67 cases confirmed through testing have been added to Richland County's tally since July the 2nd. 51 people in the county, 8 of whom were hospitalized, began experiencing symptoms of COVID-19 during the first 13 days of July, according to Ohio Department of Health. As of Monday, 56 people in Richland County have been hospitalized at some point. 19 spent time in an intensive care unit, and 276 people have recovered. Meanwhile, state health officials reported 1,142 additional confirmed and probable cases on Tuesday. That's slightly less than the 1,261 reported the day before. The state also recorded another 5 deaths and 134 hospitalizations. The recent spiral of COVID-19 cases has seen a 49% increase in infections since June 21st, with about a third of all cases since the pandemic began occurring in slightly more than the past 3 weeks. 10 of the pandemic's 12 highest daily coronavirus cases totals, including the new record of 1,525 set on Friday, have been posted during the first 13 days of July. Well, that ends that article. Beginning with our next article, Effort to help a neighbor proves costly. Fellow tenant at Mansfield Memorial Home faces theft charges by Mark Cotto. Barbara Jeffries lost her son in April. When she saw a man of a similar age in need, she wanted to help. Instead, she found herself out $80, a significant amount for an elderly person on a fixed income. The incident happened in early May at her apartment at Mansfield Memorial Homes. According to its website, the Blymer Avenue Skilled Nursing Facility provides inpatient and outpatient therapy, assisted living, and independent living. It has been around since 1953. Thomas Conrad, a fellow tenant at the time, has been indicted in connection with the incident on a charge of theft from a person in a protected class, a fifth-degree felony. A pretrial hearing was held on Tuesday. Mansfield attorney Terry Hitchman, who is representing Conrad, on Tuesday said the case is just beginning. There will be another pretrial in the near future to discuss plea negotiations, Hitchman said. Jeffries questioned why Conrad was allowed to live at Mansfield Memorial Homes given his felony record. According to the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, Conrad, 57, served 2 prison stints in 2009. In the first case, he served 3 months of a 6-month sentence for theft. Later that year, he was sentenced to 6 months for 2 counts of theft and 1 count of forgery. Melanie Amato, press secretary for the Office of Public Affairs and Communications of the Ohio Department of Health, answered Jeffrey's question. Nursing facilities accept individuals who are in need of skilled nursing care. There are no rules that prohibit a nursing facility from accepting an individual with a felony on their criminal record as long as they require skilled nursing care, Amato said in an email. Miles Parsons, CEO of Mansfield Memorial Homes, responded by email to a News Journal request for comment. Due to the HIPAA protections, we can't share with you the reasons as to why, but I can assure you Mr. Conrad is no longer a tenant at Mansfield Memorial Homes, Parsons said. MMH has a long-standing record of maintaining compliance with HUD requirements, including numerous background checks, credit checks, required on all prospective tenants to our independent living buildings. As was the case in this incident, MMH policy is to immediately alert law enforcement of any alleged criminal activity on our campus and to comply with their requests. Parsons did not respond to numerous other messages with follow-up questions from the News Journal. A Mansfield native, Jeffries is living at Mansfield Memorial Homes for a second time. She said she had never had any problems before this incident, which she described for a reporter. I had just got home. One of my daughters was sitting there waiting for me, Jeffries said. These 2 men were talking to her, and they wanted to know if she had a phone. She said no. Jeffries said one of the men was Conrad. I knew him from living here, she said, adding she offered to let him use her phone. Both of them came in my apartment. He, Conrad, said the other guy had to make a phone call, Jeffries said. I can't say for sure how it came up about the money. She said she gave both men $20. Stupid me, Jeffries said. Both of them said they would pay me the next day. She said Conrad returned to her apartment the next day without the money. He said he didn't get the money and he acted real nervous, Jeffries said. Conrad reportedly said he could get the money from his brother in Lexington and asked Jeffries to give him a ride. She turned him down. I didn't think that was a good idea, getting in the car with him when I didn't know him very well, she said. Jeffries said she went to her bedroom and returned to find Conrad standing over her purse. She asked what he was doing, and he replied he was giving her a handout, according to the Mansfield police report. That had to be when he grabbed the money from my purse, Jeffries said. She later discovered she was missing $80 and called the police, who arrested Conrad. According to the police report, Conrad admitted taking the money, telling police he used it to buy drugs and that his choice of drugs was crack. Jeffries said Conrad's father gave her some of the money back. The other man who was with Conrad initially also paid her back, she said. The incident hasn't made her afraid, just cautious. I'll never be that dumb again, Jeffries said. Madison trustees approve planning budgets. Oh, we moved on to our next article. The Madison trustees approve a planning budget by Al Lawrence. In Mansfield, Madison Township is expected to have slightly less money to spend next year on overall operations, thanks to the economic effects of the coronavirus. Trustees approved a 2021 planning document during a special meeting July 8th that shows the township will have an estimated $3.7 million to spend in all funds. The figure is down around $900,000 from estimated revenue at the same time last year. Nearly $510,000 of the difference involves grants received from Ohio Public Works Commission projects and the purchase of fire trucks and other fire equipment, including radios. The township does not anticipate receiving as much grant money in 2021. The rest of the decrease is the result of the expected loss of motor vehicle license fees, gas tax revenue, and local government funds from the state, and less county permissive sales tax revenue. It's a ramification of the effects of the COVID virus, said Trustees Chairman Dan Fletcher. The Richland County Commissioners said at a June 23rd public hearing on their 2021 planning budget, the county can anticipate cuts in various state funding sources because of a $2.1 billion budget deficit for the state's new fiscal year that started July 1. County Engineer Adam Gove said 2 weeks ago that current and anticipated declines in gas and other road-related revenues have forced him to reduce plans for summer road projects. Fletcher said Madison Township has no major projects scheduled for next year that could be affected by a revenue drop. He also pointed out fire and road department operations should not be affected because they are mostly funded with property tax revenues, although there will be a fire operating levy renewal on the November ballot. We can watch our spending closely, but we also need to start preparing now, Fletcher said. Where we can save, we'll save. The Madison Township trustees also agreed to spend $2,500 on materials for a storage shed on a concrete pad behind the fire station on Express View Drive after Fletcher volunteered his time to build it. The shed will be used to house township records that are being kept in a building next to the first station. That is in poor condition and will be demolished. Well, our next article. Young Entrepreneurs Academy, now accepting applications. Motivated students entering grades 6 through 12 who have the drive to start their own business are invited to apply to the Young Entrepreneurs Academy, also known as YAY. Applications are being accepted through September 20th for the 24-week class at yayusa.org. YAY is a year-long program during which students in grades 6 through 12 generate business ideas, conduct market researches, write business plans, pitch to a panel of investors, and launch their real companies from the ground up with instruction and inspiration from local leaders. YAY is ideal for creative, energetic students ages 11 to 18 interested in entrepreneurship. Classes are made possible by Richland Area Chamber and Economic Development and meet weekly using a mix of virtual and in-person sessions on Tuesdays from October through May. In-person classes will take place at North Central State College from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The selection process is competitive and open to all middle and high school students. YAY will have 2 upcoming virtual information sessions that are free and open to the public. They will take place from 6 to 7 p.m. on July 23rd and August 4th. To register for the event, visit richlandareachamber.com under events or contact the chamber. Scholarships are available for students based on need and merit. For more information, contact 419-522-3211. This next article is titled, Dry Summer Has Not Hurt Local Wheat Harvest by Zach Tuggle. In Crestline, as an annual reminder that summer is passing quickly, farmers across north central Ohio have spent the past 2 weeks harvesting wheat and baling the stalks. All this while keeping a watchful eye on the corn and soybean fields they hope will soon be sprinkled with rain. Close to 95% of the region's wheat fields are now bare, according to Jason Hartshuk, Ohio State University Extension Agent for Crawford County. Overall, it was an average yield with excellent quality, Hartshuk has said. Only about 10% of the farmland in Crawford and Richland counties is sown with wheat. Most of it is taken to mills in Bucyrus and Willard to be ground into flour. A lot of times they mill flour close to the bakeries where they're actually going to use it, because flour is a light, bulky product to ship around the country, Hartshuk said. Most of our wheat is food grade wheat. Wheat that falls short of food grade is fed to animals. That's a big difference in the three crops we grow around here, Hartshuk said, as he explained that none of the region's corn or soybeans are grown for human consumption. Most of the crops are fed to animals. A lot of the corn is turned into ethanol. One of the challenges with the food grade corn is that it is more disease susceptible, Hartshuk said. Depending on the year, it can be difficult to grow in our humid environment. In fact, very few farmers in the Buckeye State grow food-grade corn or beans. Most of their crops are grown west in Illinois, Iowa, and even parts of Texas. Farmers out west enjoy drier air throughout the growing season. To help ensure a steady amount of water reaches their crops, they build expensive irrigation systems. Then they have to pay to pump all that water, Hartshuk said. Sometimes they have to buy the water. Ohio farmers generally would never need such systems, but through the second week of July, the state is nearly 3 inches below its average rainfall mark. It's a reality most people can see in their flower beds every evening. If you think about it, every time you go out and water your garden, the crop would like a drink as well, Hartshuk said. Instead, fields must rely on natural rainfall. The next good chance for a shower looks like Thursday, when the National Weather Service predicts a 50% chance across the region. That doesn't really tell you how much you're going to get, Hartshuk said. Even when you have a good chance, it might not be that much rain. Farmers know too well that one field could get an entire inch of rain while the neighbor's land next door remains dry. The showers seem to be a little more sporadic this summer, Hartshuk said, though next week the forecast calls for many highs in the 90s. Corn should be pollinating at that point, Hartshuk said. That's kind of a concern because during pollination, if it's too hot, you don't get too good of a pollination and you don't get good ear fill. Despite the hazards, the majority of the region's fields look pretty healthy. There's some good yield potential out there, Hartshuk said. Probably not going to be a record year, but some of it does look decent. Let's move on. Coshocton County rich in prehistoric archaeology. Mansfield resident is excavating Native American village by Leonard Hayhurst. In Coshocton, amateur archaeologist Mark Hersman of Mansfield is uncovering the story of a former Native American village in Coshocton has to tell little by little. Hersman became aware of the 1-acre site in eastern Coshocton County about 10 years ago. The exact location is not publicized as it's on private property and for fear of looters, as some artifacts can be worth a great deal of money. Graduate students and volunteers have been helping to excavate the area and catalog what's been found. Dirt is dug away and then sifted through as they look for items such as arrowheads, flint, and bits of pottery. Hersman is still working in an area containing fire pits and is pushing towards an area where huts would have been. Just walking around the site, one can see flint lying on the ground. The artifacts give hints as to the life of the Native Americans who lived there, which included the Adena and Hopewell. The Adena lived in Ohio from 1000 to 200 BC, and the Hopewell moved in around 200 BC. Discovering the site, Hersman did a series of talks at the Johnson Hummerkaus Museum in Roscoe Village several years ago. The focus was helping landowners to identify what they were finding on their property. Someone from those seminars told him about a friend who had found a Native American village on his land. I hear this all the time. One eyebrow goes up and the other eyebrow goes down, Hersman said of his reaction. You hear, I found this artifact. You've got to see it. And you've got to get there. It's just a piece of sand. When you get there, it's just a piece of sandstone. However, this proved much more than that. The owner told Hersman he had shot a groundhog, and when he went over to the hole, he found flint chips and pottery pieces. The more he looked, the more he found. The pottery is a pretty good bet that you're on a near or village site, Hersman said. It's fragments of past history identifying people and culture and things like that. The discovery was in the early 1970s, and for a few years the site was a hive of activity. Much was found, but nothing too valuable. Eventually, the excavation died off. Yet, there is still plenty more to uncover and of great interest to the likes of Hersman. I have a crazy, insane passion for prehistoric people. Just learning about them, who were they, what were they doing, and what brought them to Coshocton, Hersman said. For me, every day on the dig site is like a huge, great adventure, and I like to share that with people. Of those who visit the site, about 65 miles southeast of Mansfield, Hersman said 8 or 9 out of 10 asked to come back. They also usually want to bring someone else back with them to share the discovery. I wanted to dazzle people. I wanted them to learn. But he's excited about the people who used to be here, Hersman said. When you pick something up that's really unique and think, this has been in the ground for 6,000 years, and my hands are touching this for the first time, then you just let your imagination run wild. Educating the public. Hersman is selected on who he brings to the old village, but he's had about 500 people visit over the years. This has spanned from young children around 10 to a Mount Vernon couple in their 80s. The younger you go, the more entertaining you do and the less teaching. Their attention span drops from small to almost negligent, Hersman said. I've never had a bad experience yet with a young kid because I'm a big kid. So I relate really well to children. But I'm a teacher and I love to teach and I really want to educate people. His big drive in bringing people in is for them to learn what certain items look like and the significance behind them. Arrowheads, flint, and pottery pieces are abundant in Coshocton County and are still routinely found by people just out for a walk or working their land, Hersman said. One misnomer he tried to dispel is that arrowheads were just that, the head of an arrow. Most of the time, arrowheads were attached to the end of a piece of bone or stick and used as a knife. Different sized arrowheads have been found, and Hersman likens that to how people have different sized knives or different tools for different tasks. Prehistoric people were living off the land, so they had a wide range of knives and tools, Hersman said. The little points in the triangular shape were the ones actually on an arrow shaft and were shot through the air. Those pretty much came around 500 AD. But by that time, hundreds of millions of artifacts were spewed all over Ohio, way before the bow and arrow ever came around. Another often found and important item is flint. Hersman said much of the flint found across the state was mined in Coshocton County. This stretches from 11,000 BC to when pioneers first arrived in the region. We're looking at a huge piece of real estate with artifacts all coming from Coshocton, Hersman said, and the amount of time the flint was being dug was tremendous. You had a lot of different cultures digging it, and then it spread out everywhere. That makes Coshocton pretty special in the prehistoric history time zone. Because of the Flint connection, Hersman said Coshocton County is a prime location for interest in prehistoric people in Ohio. It's something he wants to continue to spread and make sure people find, as local archaeology has been a passion for him for about 60 years. It's something I know a lot about. I have a lot of respect for, and I try my hardest to educate others about, Hersman said. The interest in archaeology in Coshocton County is unparalleled. All right, let's talk about some local briefs. There's a road closing announced in Mansfield. Millsboro Road, between Chambers and Twitchell Roads in Springfield Township, is closed today through Thursday afternoon. The closure will allow for a culvert replacement. Also, Gangs 5 Point Road between Chess Row and Bricker Roads in Franklin Township is closed until further notice. The closure is needed for a bridge repair. The road could reopen by the end of the week. A boil water advisory issued in Mansfield due to a water main repair. A boil advisory has been issued for Hill Avenue from Penn Avenue to Atchison Avenue, Atchison Avenue from West 6th Street to Hill Avenue, and 177 and 187 Penn Avenue. It's suggested that water be brought to a rolling boil for 3 minutes before being consumed until tests can confirm its purity. For more information, call 419-755-9806. Next, the Galion Board of Education approves school calendar change. The Galion City School Board of Education approved a change to the district's 2020-2021 school calendar during its regular meeting on Monday. The board voted to add 2 additional professional development days on August 18th and August 19th, and move the first day of school for students to August 20th. The change allows Galion staff members the opportunity to refine their learning practices should the district need to move to a complete remote learning environment. It also allows for staff training on additional health and safety protocols for the new year. All Galion staff will receive additional training from health and safety professionals about the protocols they need to follow before, during, and after students are in the classrooms and the buildings. The revised 2020-2021 school year calendar can be downloaded from the Galion City Schools website. The Crestline Museum to reopen. The Crestline Historical Society Board of Directors has approved reopening the 400 Scott Street Museum this Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. The museum will also be open Sunday from 2 to 4. Beginning in August, the museum will be open the first and third full weekends of each month. The reopening goal is to be in compliance with state guidelines in order to have a safe environment for museum volunteers and visitors. An Ohio Department of Health flyer will be posted at the entrance of the museum. Visitors should not enter if they have symptoms of COVID-19, which will be listed on the flyer. Museum volunteers will wear masks during the open house. Visitors are also encouraged to wear masks and social distance. Hand sanitizers will be available. Museum volunteers will disinfect and sanitize high contact surfaces every 2 hours during the events. The capacity will be a ratio of 1 volunteer for 10 to 12 visitors. The goal will be to have 2 volunteers on open house weekend. Now to my favorite, crime reports. Shell 77, South Diamond Street. A 57-year-old man Monday was arrested outside the business on charges of criminal trespass and drunkenness. He was taken to jail. Officers were told he was begging for money. Walmart at 2485 Possum Run Road. A 27-year-old woman Monday was issued a summons on a charge of theft and released after she admitted to failing to scan several items in the self-checkout totaling $131.94. Liberty Nursing Center at 535 Lexington Avenue. Officers Monday were dispatched to the care facility on a report of an assault. A 74-year-old man told officers his 55-year-old roommate threw a food tray at him, striking him in the head. The victim did not wish to pursue charges. A staff member said the two are no longer sharing a room anymore. The City of Mansfield at 1177 Sunset Boulevard. Officers contacted a 16-year-old boy regarding dumping of carpet at the park. He cleaned up the carpet in front of the officer. The 100 block of Pleasant Avenue. A 54-year-old woman told officers Monday a 41-year-old man, her ex-roommate, walked by her residence and said, "I'll blow up your house." Officers could not locate him. On the 800 block of South Diamond Street, officers arrested a 41-year-old man on a charge of disorderly conduct and took him to jail. A 21-year-old man who said he was assaulted near the apartments and who was covered in blood with many marks and cuts to his face said he wanted to kill himself. He was taken to a hospital. On the 300 block of Davis Road, officers took a 37-year-old man to jail on a charge of domestic violence on Monday. Well, friends, this concludes the reading of the Mansfield News Journal for Wednesday, July 15th. This is Pam saying please stay in if you can, be safe, be blessed, make it a great day.